Hi everyone, welcome back to the Crossroads. John here. Now today we have a request from Miles. Thanks for sending this through, Miles. Miles wanted me to do a lesson on how can you play the same lick all over the fretboard. So let's do this. There's an easy way to do this. I should kind of caveat this just before I start by saying really to do this properly you need to know the notes on the guitar, but I'll come back to that later on. So let's start with this. You know the pentatonic scale? Shape 1, that's great. Now within shape 1 you've got this little box. That's 5-7 on the D, 5-7 on the G. But the notes here, just in case you're interested, are G, A, C, D. So in shape 1 you've got this box. Now you've got that same box in shape 2 of the pentatonic scale, still the same notes. Alright, so G, A, C, D. That's 8, 10, 8, 10. And you've also got a lower version down here in box 5, they call it. The G, A, C, D. Okay, really, really good. So you've got these 3 boxes, they're exactly the same notes. In the middle area, in the high area, and in the low area there. So what is the point of this? Well, let's just say you don't know the notes on the guitar and you've got a lick. So say your lick goes, you can repeat that lick higher, in the middle or lower. So what I was doing there at the beginning of that little intro jam, so I just came up with a little lick and then I repeated it in the middle and then high. So that's really good. You can get a lot of mileage over that. So if I play for a little bit, just kind of same idea, you know, that little kind of groove. So can you see I'm doing exactly the same thing there? So I'm just using that little box in shape 5. First shape and then second shape. Now there are 2 other positions which we kind of haven't covered, and that would be the shape 3, that would be here. Still G, A, C, D. That's 10, 12 on the A, 10, 12 on the D, and then you'd have G, A, C, D here. So that's 12, 14, 13, 15 on the B string there. So can you see why it's helpful to learn the notes? Because if you just know, oh, 5, 7, 5, 7, and you don't know, oh, it's G, A, if you know that's a G, A, G, A, G, A, G, A, G, A, G, A. So if you know that and you have a little phrase, you can kind of play that everywhere just because you know the notes, which is really great. So not only does that allow you to play all over the neck, which is really good, how can you kind of join that together? This is the other benefit of this little kind of box system, if you want to call it that. People are always talking about how do you get out of the box? Well, you can use this. What did I do there? I added one more note. Here's our little box. All right, here it is here. what I'm doing is when I come here, so 3, 5, 3, 5, and then slide that 5 up to 7. Why am I going to that note? This is the E note. This is the other final note in the pentatonic scale. So we only use 4 notes there, but the pentatonic scale has 5 notes. That note is an E note. So what I did was play those little boxes, which takes us to the E. That's the last note in the pentatonic scale. Then we play our little box. We end on that note, and then we slide up to the E again. There's our little box in shape 2. And then finish, slide up to the E there, you know. So and the most important thing with this as well is know where your A note is. If you only learn one note, here's your A. So it's to the right there of this little box. Here it is here. Here it is here. So when you're playing a lick, you're always trying to finish on that A note since we're in A minor. All right. So you can go up. You can go down, making sure you finish on the A note there, all right? One last thing I'm going to tell you about that can really start making it sound really good is adding the blues scale note. So the blues scale note, if you go to that E note here that we just played, all right, so I did this, didn't I? Now the flat of that, meaning you go back 1 fret, they call that the flat 5 a lot of times. See, I just filled in the gap there. I went 7, 6, 5. That is the blues scale note. So if you can think of that, you can think of it as a shape, but I'm thinking of it as a note. It helps a lot more. But if you're thinking of a shape, go to that E note and you can fill in the gap. Then you could have lines that finishing on the A note. So I went up there, a little box, up the blues scale, little box, in position 1, little box again. Now I'm on that note, so there's my E there. So now I can, so now. Finishing on the A note because that's the root, we're in A minor. So that can sound really good, and remember you can go backwards. So can you see how I just mixed there the blues scale back into the high box, down the blues scale, into the first box, shape 1. Blues scale into the low box. So you can really have some fun with that, you know, because not only you can link all those shapes. So serves 2 purposes. First, you can play licks all over the fretboard. So if you run out of ideas, you can play your licks everywhere, but also you get out of the box because you know you're playing the scales kind of horizontally instead of just vertically, which is sometimes hard to get music out of. So I hope that helped. Do let me know if you've got any questions on that. That's a good little trick. But just before we go, learn your notes. I've done a video on learning the notes. I'll put it up here. It's so important because if you only know that's 8 to 10, then if someone plays those same notes here and now it's 12 to 14, how does that relate? 8 to 10. But if you know, oh, it's a G, A, G, A, you know, G, A, G, A, G, A, and you know where they are when you play a phrase. G, A. It's not a mystery anymore. You're just doing the same thing over and over again. And it makes it so much easier. When I learned the notes, the whole world opened up. But when you're just reading tabs, that's great. I still use that. But, you know, in order to progress your playing, you need to learn the notes. You have to do it. Anyway, hope that helps. Remember to check out the other videos on the channel if you can. Thanks so much for watching. If you've got any requests, let me know. And thanks, Miles, for this one. See you in the next video.